Hello and welcome back. So let's continue the work from the last video. So assuming that you have fixed the move right animation, then you should have 4 animations now ready. So let's open up Unreal Engine, and you might have to go and check out what this action girl with root is, if you have no idea what it is, because I explained this in some of the previous videos I made. But basically, this is one of this is the skeleton that I used to import the FBX versions from XMO onto, and then I retargeted afterwards. So that's a super short version. But anyway, I have a dedicated video showing this. I can't remember which one, but go check out my channel if you don't know. Okay, so we have this import folder, and we want to import the animations. So let's go ahead and select the animation that we made. It was cover idle and cover sneak left and right, and this one called stand to cover underscore IM with the root motion. So we'll pick this action girl with the root and hit import all. It's going to take a few seconds to import. Alright, so we now have the animations. This is the idle animation, and this is move left and the right. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a blend space for this, blend space 1D, and pick action girl with root and call this cover underscore blend space, maybe underscore 1D, something like this. And I want to give it a direction, so I'm going to give it something called like movement direction, and give the axis minus 100 to 100 and hit apply changes. So now we can see the movement direction down here changed, so minus 100 to 100. So let's throw in the cover idle at 0, this one, and the cover sneak left on the left side, and the cover right on the right side, I believe. Otherwise we'll just change them. So as you can see now, she's gonna blend nice between these two when I move the mouse from left to right. Okay, so with that out of the way, now we have this blend space ready. Okay, but the thing I wanted to address in this video was actually something else. So let's say now we have this one, and we also have this stand to cover, which I talked about in the previous video. So this one we want to make a montage out of. So you will create right click it and say create anim montage, and well, it's gonna look like this. But you want to also go and press stand to cover and then hit enable root motion, and that will make her make the animation look like this. But that's also gonna propel her forward, which we need for the implementation here. Okay, so that's what we needed in the animations. So the next thing we want to do is go to the character, and since I'm working with a different skeleton, I have this you see here this Adam skeleton, which is just basically the mannequin. So I want to retarget everything to this guy, and I see I already have a copy of this. Let's delete this, and let's go to the import folder and select everything. Oops, not this one. all the animations, and maybe actually we can get away with just selecting the blend space and the montage, and right click and retarget, duplicate, and say SK Adam skeleton. So that's the guy here, and just select. So let's see what we have in the mesh folder now. We actually get a copy of the animations that are in use, so that's pretty handy. Okay, so we just need to remove these copy because they are kind of annoying. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so what we now have is the robot guy, mannequin, doing these movements. So we have, if you have followed my videos, you will know that I have my base character blueprint looking something like this. There's a lot of stuff, but what we actually want to focus on is just a tiny bit of this, and it is going to be the crouch, because I decided to implement this using the crouch. So it's gonna continue nice with the talk I have had in that part 18 video where I talked about surroundings awareness. So oops, if we hit play, he's gonna pop up on the other screen. Hang on a sec. Here we go. Okay, then you will remember that whenever I, for example, I walk up to something and I hit jump, some traces is gonna happen, and in this case I need to run in order to get him to wall run up here, and same with the walls here. When he's climbing from left to right, he's gonna make, in this case, as you can see, all the red stuff coming following him is the traces happening at each tick. So we have a lot of traces and going on all the time in order to get this surroundings awareness going. So for the jump, this jump to ledge, I obviously use a space to jump up, and if I press crouch, he's gonna jump down again. So I wanted to make it so that if he's just standing close to a wall, kind of like this distance or something, he would jump onto the wall and stand in a cover pose. So I want to press duck here because that's just what I could think of. In a real game, maybe I would choose something else, but it seems pretty logical that you would kind of duck and then he would take cover here. So that's what I decided to do. In my project settings, I have my input set. I have a crouch set to this Danish E, which is handy for me because I'm left-handed. I'm using JKLI as my movement key instead of ASDW. Anyway, that's the crouch. So if we go back into the character blueprint, we can see we have this crouch stuff happening, and as you just saw, when I hit crouch in a hanging braced movement state, then he will jump down from ledge. All this is covered in previous videos. One thing you might notice is that I renamed the climbing state to movement state, because this is now going to contain other stuff besides climbing. So let's see, in our movement state, let's take it from, I think I put it in animations folder under acrobatics. This one was called climbing state, it's now called movement state. So we have not climbing is jumping from ledge and so on. And what we want to add here is something called is standing cover. Something like is standing, I don't know. That's what it's going to be called for this tutorial. Okay, so this is going to be the state that he's going to be in when he's going to be in cover. So with that out of the way, let's go back to the crouch. So if we are not in a hanging braced state, then we want to ask, can we slide under something? And this actually says is if we are sliding under something. So we could do something like branch and say, okay, if we are not, let's say, drive this from not sliding under something, then we could maybe try take cover. So let's make a function for that. Call this try take cover. And put this, well, it's going to get in and put it into the acrobatics section. Let's see here. Okay, drag it in and plug it into the true part. So I'm not going to have anything here at the moment. So let's see what we need to do here first. Try take cover is gonna, let's take a look at the viewport because it's kind of easier to talk through when I have this one open. We have an interaction point. No, that was the arrow. Let's see, we have all these arrows. The interaction point is the smaller of the blue ones pointing out from his pelvis. Since there could be situations where he would take cover in like kind of in a crouched state, I want to actually send out two traces. So in this case I want to go into standing cover if not the interaction point, but another point we have up here, which is called chest point, and I just put it somewhere in here inside his body. I think it's 40 units up in the air, and then I'm going to also use the knee point, which is minus 35. So I'm going to use these 2 points to shoot out a trace from, to determine whether or not we should take this pose. So we're going to utilize a function that are called a facing wall, this one, which we made in a previous video. So let's first take the knee point, doesn't really matter which one, and let's set a trace distance to 1.5 meters in front. Just assume that this is a good distance. You can experiment with this. If you put it too close, then he won't snap into it, and if you put it too long, then he won't make it all the way forward to the wall. So just try and experiment with this. I found that 150 was okay. So if he's facing a wall, then this one will be true. Can just quickly open this one, but it's explained also in one of the previous tutorials. So it's basically just making a trace line from this point. The wall tracer is a macro which looks like this. So if you need to make this now, just pause the video and copy it. And also this one. So everything you should need should be here. Okay. So let's close this up and say, okay, if we are facing a wall for this one, Oh, and we also want to make the other trace, which will be which would be the chest point. Why did I put the chest point? It's down here. So let's replace this one, reference point, and just also 180, 50. Okay, so let's see. Both of these needs to be true. So let's see. We could make this really neat. I think we are going to do this. So we're going to drag this one out and promote to local variable and call this down here local me trace it, and also drag this one out and promote to local variable and call this local just trace hit. So now we have these values and booleans, and it just makes it prettier to look at, I think. Okay. Pardon my OCD. Yeah, this is really not relevant. Okay, so let's see. What we want to do after this is make a branch and say, okay, if both of these are true, so we could, okay, since this one, okay, this was kind of unnecessary, but the chest trace and the local need trace, both of these needs to be true. So I'm just gonna add and oops, control drag this one down and drag this one down. Say okay, if they are both true, then we want to do something, because then we want to play this animation montage that we just made, and well, I think let's go ahead and make this using the interface that we have. We have on animations mannequin here. We have an eye animation, and which is both the base character under class defaults, class settings. We'll see that it has eye animation here, which we so it's using this interface, and also the animation blueprint, which is over here, is also using. So let's switch in here and check here. So they are both using this interface. So let's make a function here called take. I have stuff like jump to braced, blah blah blah, and let's make one called take cover. I think that's all we want to have here. So inside the base character again, we want to call this interface function. So we write animation instance for the mesh in this one, and then we want to send a message out. Take cover message, and hook that up to the true. So if we have a hit here, we will take cover. That's what we need here. So inside the animation blueprint, we want to implement this function, this event actually. So we might need to compile and type event take cover, and inside here we want to play montage play, and select the cover something. What was it called? Stand to cover. Why do we have two? Okay, great. This one. It's gonna be okay. And for now, let's see if this works. So we're gonna go up to a wall, and then we're gonna press crouch. Something happened, but not what I expected. Okay, so This is actually, the reason for this is actually because the montage here is using a slot called default slot, and I don't know why I end up with all these, but anyway, I need to use this called full body slot, which is a slot that I use inside my animation. Let's briefly take a look at that also. It's on the animation graph here, I think all the way to the end. Slot. I have a slot here called slot full body. It's just right click slot, add, like this, like this one, and then I just use this slot name. Okay, so that's gonna play. Okay, so if I now come up to a wall and press crouch, he's gonna move and make that animation, but he's not gonna do it, stay in that pose. But we'll take a look at that in the next video. Okay, so stay tuned for the next video. Until then, bye bye.